Ron Paul was on Morning Joe, and I teased it at the top of the show. And, Ron Paul's all about his core convictions. So they're talking about Mitt Romney and whether he thinks Mitt Romney has any core convictions and if he agrees with that.
Yes, and whether he's shown himself to be someone who has clear convictions.
The Republican Party of the last several decades, I would say he has core convictions, but I just disagree with them.
Okay.
Because the core convictions aren't what I think we sometimes pretend we believe in and what we have believed in the past. So therefore...
So let me just also back this up and remind you that they're going to ask him. I'm going to play this clip later, but Ron Paul is a recipient of Social Security, and he takes the checks and cashes them and spends the money. Even though he's the biggest guy who rails against the quote-unquote welfare state, and he's against... okay, so that this is all going to come up in this interview. Okay, so here we go. So here's some more stuff he has to say about core convictions. Sure, he's all for getting rid of the welfare state, right?
Your condemnation of the welfare state, it would seem to me that you are headed in the direction of eliminating programs like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Am I wrong on that?
Well, sort of, because there's a good time sequence. As adamant as I am about the purity of a philosophy, I'm also very pragmatic when it comes, I want to get rid of the Fed, but I also don't want to get rid of the Fed tomorrow. What I want to do
is keep taking Social Security. I won't get rid of it after I'm dead. That's what I want to do. I'm very pragmatic. Sure, I want to end the welfare state, but not if it's helping me right now. I'm still going to take it. He has some more stuff. And here, Joe Barnacle asked him about the social contract.
Any obligation to talk to them, perhaps instruct them about the fact that there has always been a social contract among Americans from one generation to another to help those who need help the most.
Okay. Is there a social contract? Well, here's what he has to say about it.
Yeah, but not through government. The best way you can help people is have freedom and free markets, incentives, production, sound money. So, and we have accepted this sort of social contract you talk about for the last 100 years. And look at where we are. Look at what's happened in the last 20 years. Look at what's happened since the year 2000. Look at what's happened in the last 5 years. It's downhill. So what do we get? Education for kids. They're graduating. They have more debt, no education, and no jobs. That's what your social contract is giving you.
So he's saying the social contract, meaning Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all those things, they're ruining our country. That's what. But he seems to still be taking those things, right? And so then they ask him point blank, "Are you?" Here it goes.
Bit of a personal question then. Are you on Social Security? Do you get Social Security checks?
I do.
Well, is there? You just told younger generations that they should wean themselves off this social contract.
That is true.
But you haven't done it yourself.
The Social Security, just like I said that I would preserve the Social Security the best I can.
Until I'm dead, and then screw it. I don't care. I got to preserve it while I'm getting that check. I might live till I'm 90 years old. He asked him again.
But we want to get off. But this is one program we were supposed to be paying into an insurance program.
I understand that.
So it's
don't you
different.
Think you could have set a good example for the future generations? I'm not saying you're not the wealthiest man in Congress. I know that. But you have enough means to take care of yourself in retirement. Shouldn't you have provided an example?
You know that you...
Not to be all sanctimonious about it, but I just want to...
You're not being sanctimonious. You're just being a little sanctimonious.
A little bit, but I'm just curious. Couldn't you have set an example?
No, I think...
First of all, I like how they make it that the guy who's actually asking the question of the hypocrite, he's the guy who's a little bit out of line here.
Yeah. And he's apologizing before they berate him because he's asking a question that might make this particular politician uncomfortable.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to expose your hypocrisy on this issue. By the way, it's very easy to do with Ron Paul. You can expose him on abortion. You can expose him on this. I'm sure any one of his positions you can expose his hypocrisy, except for maybe foreign wars. I don't know about that. But hang on, there's a little bit more.
I think the programs are so designed, just as I use the post office, too. I use government highways. I do that, too.
See, because I all that stuff that I rail against, I actually use and like. But it makes for good rhetoric, and it gets people who don't think deeply really worked up.
I use the banks. I use the Federal Reserve System.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Stop it. You're a big hypocrite. I got it.
I don't care.
I get it. You do everything that you rail against, you're a part of. I got it.
But that doesn't mean that you can't work to remove this in the same way on Social Security.
Remove the highways?
Yeah, remove the highways.
Where are we going to drive?
And the post office and
Where's
the banks.
How's he going to go get his Social Security check?
Who's going to deliver his Social Security check?
I am trying to make a transition. If I were 20 years old and offered that chance, I'd jump at it. And the young people jump at it because they know that this is not solvent. Yeah. So I personally don't see any consistency in that, because we were supposed to have money there, and we had this, contract. This is not like signing up for food stamps. This is signing up to get. I still pay Social Security. I pay more into it than I get out.
So then, why are you advocating for its end? Why, if it's not welfare, if it's not like food stamps, then why do you want? If it's something that you pay into, that you draw from, why are you against it?